Join the fight by responding to action alerts and by giving to AFA Action today. When you do, you'll help protect our rights, and you'll get free access to David Barton's mini-documentary, God in the Constitution. Find out more and give at afaaction.net.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildman, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. That's the name of this program. Today's Issues here on AFR. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is Wednesday, June the 19th, 2024. So 2 more days until the longest day of the year, which I'm personally am grateful for. And Ed Battagliano joins me. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Tim. Now, you're grateful for the longest day of the year, but not what comes immediately after it.
Which is
the days growing shorter.
Yeah.
Sunlight.
Yeah.
They'll still be
sunlight.
They'll still be 24 hours,
but yeah. Wesley Wildman. Good morning, Wesley.
Good morning. I have violated our discussion from yesterday, and I have wore my Tennessee orange, or is it my Florida orange? I'm just going to wait and see who wins.
Why is this? You're violating what now?
Yesterday we decided that it's wrong. It's illegal to.
It's immoral.
It's immoral to pick teams based on winning or losing. And what I have decided to do is wear my Florida orange, or it could be my Tennessee orange.
The reason, and Fred Jackson. Good morning, Fred.
Good morning.
The reason
whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, good morning, Fred. Wesley, let me explain to you something.
Yeah.
You and I know what you're saying.
Going on. I was getting there.
These two gentlemen here are enthralled in the NHL Stanley Cup.
Okay.
Seven-game playoffs.
I was
and
getting
so
there.
They're not. While they're over there.
Sure.
You and I are over here watching the College World Series.
Right.
Oh, that's
baseball. Okay.
See, now how this makes sense?
Yes, it does.
So in the College World Series finals,
that's right,
are both the University of Tennessee orange,
right,
and the University of Florida a deeper orange.
Yeah.
And Wesley's wearing an orange shirt. You see
wait to see it.
So you are hedging your bets.
You're right.
You're going to be a winner.
Right, he doesn't know.
That's right.
I don't know. I don't know if that's Florida or Tennessee orange you got on there.
It looks more Tennessee.
The collar looks Florida and the shirt looks Tennessee.
Because it's got the white in there, it kind of changes the color.
Right.
Anyway, back to the
NHL.
Back to hockey.
We open that up.
In the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs.
I am standing by my team. I am so proud of the Edmonton Oilers.
Okay.
They were down 3 games to zip.
Yeah.
All right. So they go to Edmonton and they win 1 game in Edmonton. Edmonton did. Last night they went back to Miami, where the Florida Panthers are based.
Right.
A lot of people
ice hockey in Miami.
Yes.
Yes.
A lot of people expected, because the Panthers have been playing great.
Right.
A lot of people expected, okay, they're back on home ice. This is going to be it. They're going to win the Stanley Cup last night. Well, lo and behold, that did not happen.
Right.
Edmonton went up 3-0 at one point. The Florida Panthers did come back strong. It was 3-2, and then I think it was 4-3.
4-3, and they finally won 5-3.
Yeah.
Edmonton Oilers.
Panthers pulled their goalie.
Yeah.
And it was exciting.
It was a really good game.
Yes.
I will say this. Now, Connor McDavid, who's the
star. You're losing me.
Okay. He's the star. He's unbelievable. You should watch clips of Connor
I've heard
McDavid.
his name. Yeah, I asked Bobby
he is
who the best player in the league
Rosa.
was, and he said
Bobby Rosa. Connor McDavid.
Remember the name.
He said when they was asked before the game last night, what is it you're looking to do? He said, we just want to drag them back to Edmonton. Because the flight is like 2,500 miles between Miami and Edmonton. Mm-hmm. And he said, we just want to drag them back to Edmonton, and that's what's going to happen.
All right. So game 5 or
game 6 is Friday night.
They will be dragged back to Edmonton.
No plans.
No plans.
In Edmonton.
I'm watching the game.
It's getting good.
Yes.
All right. Trivia Friday will be tomorrow, right, Ed?
It'll be tomorrow's Thursday.
Actually, that's right.
No,
tomorrow's Thursday.
I think we're skipping Thursday.
Well, okay. It's good to
No,
know.
because it's the longest day of the year.
Yes.
And
Got to make up that time somewhere.
I just took it off my calendar.
Oh boy.
So, no, Trivia Friday will be Friday.
Yes,
Today's,
it will.
I thought today was Thursday. Wow, the week. I've just enjoyed it so much. It's
Talk
gone
about long
so
days. Your week just got longer.
I know, right?
That's right.
Tomorrow, I think tomorrow. It's. I looked this up. Either either June 20th or 21st is the longest daylight, at
Right.
least where we live
Right.
Mhm.
Yes,
in
it's
North
true.
North America. I don't know. The poles would be changing, right? They'd be different, I guess. So.
Well, just depending on what hemisphere you're in, that changes.
Yeah.
Just
All right.
the fact
Yeah.
that Ed says
Huh?
hemisphere.
Right.
That's
Right.
awesome. I don't know something
Yeah.
about it. Sounded like you were about to go into some deep
Right.
deep scientific
No,
type.
yeah.
There's nothing beyond that.
just
I just was
hemisphere.
able to pull that word out of the
The
back of my
hemisphere.
head somewhere.
Okay.
Those
Well, you know, there's-
knowledge.
Well, I started
behind
getting interested.
There's,
You
know
drew
there's-
me in.
well, today there's hemisphere and hemisphere.
Her,
And,
there.
and then you can choose your pronoun for your spheres.
That's-
too,
That's
it's
right.
a different world we live
That's
in.
it.
We don't want to be, misgender
Misgender.
our
Our
spheres.
Yes,
Yeah, I don't want to do
You
that.
know, you do that, you got trouble.
you do.
All right, Fred, what's leading the news?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've just spent 5 minutes, and now it has been an education for
That's
our
right.
people. But,
That's right.
Anyway, go ahead.
We're in an election year.
Uh-huh.
That's not breaking news.
Uh-huh.
But primaries are still going on out there.
Yeah.
And there is a very interesting Republican primary going on for a congressional seat there in Virginia. And it involves a fairly high-profile Republican, Congressman Bob Good, who's chair of the House Freedom Caucus.
Mhm.
And he is in a battle right now. State Senator John McGuire. They voted. They voted yesterday. And there's now only 327 votes between the two. McGuire holds a lead of about 327 votes.
That's as of maybe 2 hours ago.
A couple of hours
Okay.
ago, according to the Associated Press. Now, apparently, Virginia celebrates Juneteenth. So they've stopped the count. We'll have to wait until tomorrow to figure out. There's about 63,000 ballots or something like that.
Stopping the count.
Yeah.
I think we've
Where have
been,
we seen that before?
we've been down this road before.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, what's interesting about this race is that the state senator, John McGuire, had the blessing of former President Donald Trump over Bob Good. So a lot of people are kind of waiting to see the results of this because Bob Good is well respected amongst conservatives. McGuire is very conservative. But the impact of the Trump endorsement is what people are very interested in.
Yeah, I've had there's a friend of mine who lives in the Charlottesville area, and that's part of the district that this primary is going on. And he also commented to me that a couple things. There's been a lot of money poured in by Kevin McCarthy, the former Speaker of the House, against Bob Good, because Good was one of the congressmen that participated in the ousting of Kevin McCarthy, and McCarthy's getting his revenge because he raised money to take out Bob Good, right, in the situation. Good old human revenge.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. The second part is Trump demands fealty, and Bob Good supported Governor Ron DeSantis in the primary initially. He later, after Governor DeSantis bowed out, he said, "I support President Trump," but Trump said that was too late, not good enough. Excuse the pun. So, you see what I did there?
Did, yeah.
So Trump said he was going with the challenger, Senator, the state senator McGuire.
Quiet.
So Bob Good he may still pull this out, but he was up against. So Trump wanted him gone, McCarthy wanted him gone, and I was told that Democrats can vote in this open primary.
In some places, they
Some
can,
people
I guess.
some people. I was told that some Democrats crossed over to vote out Bob Good.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To participate in the ousting of Bob Good, if that's what in fact happens. Again, as Fred noted, it's 50-50.
Have we ever
right now.
heard of a time or an election where Republicans voted in the Democratic Party primary in the name of voting for the lesser of the two Democrats?
It's rare. I don't know. I can't think of an example. I can think of a couple of examples where I remember where Democrats voted in Republican primaries.
No. I think you're missing it. So what I'm saying is that I can think of two or three off the top of my head where Democrats voted in the Republican primary in order to get a less conservative candidate in. But I can't think of one where Republicans went out and voted in a Democrat primary to get a less.
Well, I voted for Bernie Sanders.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Well,
that answers my question.
no,
I appreciate you.
Also depends what hemisphere you're in, fellas.
I wanted Hillary out, so I voted for Bernie.
Did you really?
Oh, I'm
okay.
No, we.
I got you. I got you.
got me.
Yeah, I can just see that. For those of you,
Do I need to do 5 plus 3 again, or did we get that? The point I was making?
No, I do. I got it.
Okay, fair
for
enough.
those of you about to post a Facebook, you started typing. I can't believe Tim Wildman voted for Bert. Okay, I'm kidding. So you need to put your hands off the Facebook post.
Yeah,
because I'm teasing there.
Well, you weren't put in that position though. Let's play hypothetical. If you had, no, I'm just
let's don't play hypothetical.
Well,
you know why? We got real life stuff that we get in trouble with.
And we get We get in enough trouble
Right,
with
real life. We don't
stuff.
need hypotheticals. Next story, Fred.
All right. We're just over 8 months into the Israeli war against Hamas. And it didn't take long for the knives to come out against Israel, that they were doing cruel things in Gaza, and they lost support in America, even amongst Democrats. I can remember Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who is Jewish, turned on Netanyahu, said there should be new elections there because he didn't like the way Netanyahu was carrying out the war. Well, Netanyahu's been very diplomatic up to now about the opposition he has faced here in the United States. Open chastisement even from President Joe Biden, and other high-profile Democrats. But yesterday, Prime Minister Netanyahu, in a video, kind of unleashed some frustrations against America, and it had to do with some reduction in the numbers of weapons that the United States has been sending to Israel. So here's a little bit of what Netanyahu had to say yesterday, cut number 1.
When Secretary Blinken was recently here in Israel, we had a candid conversation. I said I deeply appreciated the support the U.S. has given Israel from the beginning of the war. But I also said something else. I said it's inconceivable that in the past few months, the administration has been withholding weapons and ammunition to Israel. Israel, America's closest ally, fighting for its life, fighting against Iran and our other common enemies. Secretary Blinken assured me that the administration is working day and night to remove these bottlenecks. I certainly hope that's the case. It should be the case. During World War II, Churchill told the United States, "Give us the tools, we'll do the job." And I say, give us the tools and we'll finish the job a lot faster.
All right, so there you have it. There was almost immediate reaction from the White House. Karine Jean-Pierre said, basically, we don't know what the Prime Minister is talking about. Now, what is true...
She wanted to be clear, though.
Yes.
About that. She said, let me be clear.
Yes.
Right?
But what is true is that the United States has withheld some weapons, the 2,000-pound bombs. They say they have... At least there has been a period when the United States withheld those bombs from Israel because they say, the United States, the Biden administration, saying those bombs do a lot of damage, would kill more civilians. There is a deep divide within the Democratic Party on this. You have many basically pro-Palestinian pro-Hamas people within the Democratic Party. I'm thinking about AOC. I'm thinking about members of the Squad in general who have openly condemned Israel's response in trying to end the war against the Hamas terrorists who carried out that horrible massacre on October 7th. More than 1,200 Israeli men, women, and children were massacred on that day. Netanyahu is committed to ending this, to putting Hamas out of business, and then after that, having a certain degree of control over Gaza. But yesterday was very unusual for Netanyahu to be so blunt, so open in his criticism of the Biden administration.
Because he said for over the past few months,
Mm-hmm.
so this isn't just a particular type of weapon
Mhm.
or particular, size in terms of, explosive power, one particular bomb or missile.
Yeah.
So he was saying weapons and ammunition over the past several months. So somebody has this story wrong.
Yes.
Either the Biden administration is not being forthcoming, perhaps Benjamin Netanyahu was speaking hyperbolically, out of frustration. I don't know, but it is disturbing that we have seen the U.S. at least seem to pull back a little bit in terms of wholehearted support for what Israel is doing, especially being a nation that spent 20 years in Iraq and Afghanistan,
Yeah.
quote unquote, getting the job done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's what Netanyahu is saying. They want to, they need this artillery, as it were, to complete the job. Israel, it's been a bad week for Netanyahu. His war council, some of his key members of his war council quit. And also Hezbollah, the Hezbollah terrorists based in Lebanon, are increasing their attacks against northern Israel.
There are Iranian-backed,
Yes.
Iranian probably.
And
West.
Hezbollah is actually more powerful and organized than Hamas.
Yeah.
On this. So it's a tough time, and I think Netanyahu is just saying we want to complete this, but we can't unless we have the full support of the United States. Bottom line.
Yeah. Well, we need to, we need to continue to support Israel strongly. For various reasons. They're our number one ally in the Middle East, and they have a way of life that's very similar to ours here in the U.S. and you call that westernized. That's what you want to call it. And also for Christians, we got the holy sites there.
Mm-hmm.
Now Judaism does too, and Islam does too.
Right.
But we, the holy sites in that area, and these, that's secondary to human life.
Right.
But you understand what I'm saying here. And then also peace in the region. It's interesting to me that nobody wants Hamas to be in their country.
Yeah.
Even the Arab countries that surround Israel don't want them.
Been there,
Right.
done that. They said they
Egypt
tried
doesn't
it.
want them.
Yep, Egypt doesn't. Yep.
Egypt doesn't want them. Jordan doesn't want them.
Yep.
Saudi Arabia doesn't want them. You know the land that Saudi Arabia has?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever looked at that?
Oh, yeah.
They got 3 or 4 major cities, and after that, it's a bunch of desert.
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh? And I'm just saying, the money the Saudis have? My word, they're looking for ways to spend money. I'm just saying that the Arab countries, with all their oil money, could easily build a place in the Middle East for the Palestinian people, who are brothers with them, and since that they're all Arabs and they're Muslims, the vast majority.
They don't want Sharia law.
That's
That's the ultimate place that you get to if you invite them in.
Yeah, they're very so. But I'm just saying, what does that say to you? It says to you that even their own Arab brothers don't want them living in their country,
Right.
and yet they want to tell Israel, but I'm just saying there's a reason for that, and that's because Hamas is dangerous,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like if you remember the what was called the Muslim Brotherhood,
Right.
that the Egyptian government had to deal with. They're extreme Islamic views or Sharia law. I mean, it's so we'll see what happens there. But just interesting to me that everybody wants, you know, the Arab countries themselves don't want to take their fellow Arabs.
Well,
in.
the Muslim Brotherhood kicks out Hamas. Hamas was too extreme for the Muslim Brotherhood
in Egypt.
In Egypt, and Egypt had to deal with the Muslim Brotherhood later on. Then that's why nobody wants Hamas. Within their borders.
The Arabs who live in Gaza could have done a lot better for themselves, a lot better for themselves, had Hamas not been the ideology that carried the day. And Hamas is just driven by sheer and raw hatred of the Jews and Israel, and that's and not how can we take this piece of land, which is a beautiful on the ocean front, or the Mediterranean Sea, I should say, could have been built up, you know,
with all the aid pouring in there, and they have beautiful topography, beautiful beaches.
Yeah.
That could have been a shining star in the Middle East, and become very wealthy with trade.
Right. But anyway, we need to support Israel. And the interesting thing is here, you always need to remember this. You have to go back to what started this. Okay. Has Israel made some mistakes along the way? Yeah, that happens in war. But you know what? You know who started this? The Hamas organization went in to Israel and slaughtered 1,100?
1,200.
1,200 Israeli citizens in one day.
Go terrorism.
Cut their heads off. Excuse me, I'm sorry to get so graphic. Butchered them like pigs at a slaughterhouse. I mean, it'll turn your stomach to even think about what all happened. You should watch some of this footage. That's what started this.
Yes.
Now, to me, if you start a war like that in such a savage way, whatever happens to you after that is
your fault.
Is your fault and was brought on by your initiating a war with a greater power. It was stupid. Okay, it was, in my view. I don't know what Hamas hoping to, except for getting their quote pound of flesh out of their hatred for the Jews. I'm not sure exactly what they hope.
I think
how they wanted this to end.
I think they were hoping other Arab countries would join.
It would provoke a regional war.
Yes,
all the Arab countries would join in,
and they wipe out Israel.
That's a good point.
That's what I think.
It didn't happen that way.
No,
it didn't happen that way.
And all this, by the way, was premeditated.
Yes,
because Hamas had been spending all the money they were getting, well, a lot of it, they'd been spending on building tunnels, making preparations, stockpiling weapons and ammunition, and so for this moment.
Right.
All right. So this was premeditated. This wasn't an accidental triggering of a war with simmering tensions. Okay. And it's just ridiculous to hear people, these college kids on campuses, until they all went home and went on vacation for the summer. Okay, they were protesting on college campuses, and their attitude was like, well, Israel's killing X number of people, Palestinians, and they only lost 1,200, so it's uneven. Well, so are you saying Israel should have waited until 15,000 Jews were killed? Then they're okay?
Yeah.
There's no logic on that. On the left side of this.
All right, we'll be back after this short time out. You're listening to the radio program Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Stay with us.
It's my turn. Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildman.
Some years ago, several soldiers were having a good time in the Soldiers' Entertainment Center. Someone began playing the piano, and a crowd gathered. Soon the man playing the piano struck up a very familiar tune, and several in the crowd joined in singing. Some of you who are old enough may remember the song. It goes like this: "What's the use of worrying? It never was worthwhile. So pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile." Well, someone in the crowd recognized the man playing the piano. "Do you know who that is playing the piano?" he asked the soldier next to him. "That's Felix Lloyd Powell, the man who wrote the song." You know, many wish life was as simple as the song suggests. It would be a neat trick if we could pack up our troubles in an old kit bag and spend the day smiling. But unfortunately, life doesn't operate that way. Some things in life cannot be tucked away and forgotten. It's true that many try to pack up their troubles. They try various bags. Some try the bag of alcohol only to find that the trouble is still there when the hangover is gone. There's an old saying that the fastest way out of town is on a good, cheap drunk. The only catch is that town is still there when you wake up. Still others believe their troubles can be packed up in a dope needle. They try that bag. The only catch here is that the troubles won't stay in the bag unless we push another needle or eat another pill. And when we stop, those same troubles are still there, looking us in the eye. Police in Tacoma, Washington found a note on the body of a 20-year-old well-dressed youth. In part it said, "Dope ruined my life and took away my happiness forever. I could never live in a state of mind I was in." How we humans wish we could take a pill or push a button and our problems would be automatically solved. Some years ago, a financially secure man told me that mankind was on the verge of building utopia here on Earth by his own initiative. Then, he said, we can solve all our problems. One wonders sometimes if what we are building isn't closer to a Hades than a utopia. Unfortunately, you can't take a pill or push a button and get at the inside of a person. Life simply doesn't work that way. But we can find help for our problems. God will help us. He may not lead us to a quick, easy, and simple solution, but He will help us. And when they get too heavy for us to carry, we can turn our troubles over to Him. At least it will get the weight off of our back. The music soon stopped in the Soldiers' Entertainment Center. People went back to other things. In a few minutes, they heard a gunshot. Going to the room where the gunshot came from, they found Felix Lloyd Powell dead. There was a revolver in his hand. Don't put your troubles in an old kit bag of any kind and continue smiling. If you can't handle them, turn them over to God. He can help.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildman, a production of the American Family Association.
In Him we were also chosen, having been predestined according to the plan of Him who works out everything in conformity with the purpose of His will. Ephesians 1, verse 11.
American Family Radio. This is today's issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of today's issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of today's issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. Hey, if you want to send us an email, here's the address. And as I expressed oftentimes here on this program, if you're going to take the time to send us an email, it needs to be a K-Love email.
Right.
That's fair.
And by that, I mean
Reasonable.
positive and encouraging.
Yes. Which is what Christians should be anytime, every
Oh.
time. Right? Positive, encouraging.
Not negative and depressing.
I don't care what hemisphere you live in.
Yes, that's it.
The email address is comments@afr.net, comments@afr.net. And we do welcome your emails by people who support and listen to AFR. Fred Jackson's here with us. He's our news director. Tim, Ed, and Wesley. We're talking about the news of the day. Guys, when is former President Trump going to announce his VP pick?
I think it's going to be the convention.
They usually do that at the convention.
So sort of build up the curiosity.
Keep the media talking about you. President Trump is
right.
Very good.
Smart politics.
It's smart politics. Keep them, keep the media talking about. He says, "Hey, I'm pretty close."
Who do you like,
said that
Ed?
in January.
Do you have a particular choice of the ones who have been mentioned?
I like.
Drum roll, please.
I like J.D. Vance.
J.D. Vance.
Tim Scott.
In
or
this
Marco
order?
Rubio. No, in any order.
Any three of those guys.
Any three of those guys. Some of the others are probably
J.D.
good
Vance,
too,
of course, the senator from
Ohio.
But he's a first-term senator.
Yeah.
From Ohio. But from Ohio. Wesley, what?
July 15th through the 18th is the convention there.
In Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when.
So you think that it could hold off to then and then?
I think so because he's getting so much play.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much teasing going on right now.
It's
So
another
gonna be-
4 weeks.
But now in February he said I got the person picked. Remember that? He said I've already.
I think that was gamesmanship.
Yeah.
That's you know what he does. He just keeps him. Remember when he was president in the White House? He was constantly tweeting and stuff, and would get the media
In meetings,
fired up,
yeah.
and they would be talking about something that he wanted them to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, maybe the person he had picked out in February indicated to him they weren't interested.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. Maybe he had somebody and then it didn't work out.
Did
All
you-
right, Wesley,
did-
who would be your pick?
I've been back and forth on this. I do like for totally different reasons than we've talked about off the radio. But
All right.
Ben Carson, I know he does not have the same.
I like him to read to me.
Yes.
What?
But no, seriously, no. I
Dr. Ben Carson.
I could go either way. From a strategic point of getting Christians
Read a book.
to vote, I can see Ben Carson being a similar draw that Mike Pence was at the time, if you remember that, and it worked then. I don't know if that would work now. However, if
You
you're
mean the Christian vote?
the Christian vote, if you remember back in 2015, a lot of Christians had the same issues, some similar issues that we have today about Donald Trump's character, blah, blah, blah. Well, when he decided to go with Mike Pence, for a lot of Christians, that's what they needed
Yes.
in order to vote for him in
Yes.
2016.
You think we may need that again?
Right. And number two, I'm also being realistic here.
Yeah.
Because I'm calculating the fact that Trump usually, or I can't think of a situation where Trump has put somebody in his 2, 3, or 4 spot or worked with them closely and that had the same level of high personality that he has. And I feel like anybody that you're probably about to list is in conflict with his platform.
He don't want to be up.
Don't want to compete.
Yeah, he don't want to. He wants some. Yes, that's right.
That's why I could list 2 or 3 that I think would be more effective.
Right.
Right.
I don't think that they're realistic in him picking, and I'll give you one of those, and then we can pass the baton here. But I think
Ramaswamy.
Ramaswamy. I've listened to him enough. Now, early on, there were some question marks for the extreme conservatism because of something he's written in a few books from years ago.
Extreme conservatism. You're against that?
No, I didn't say I was against it. I was saying that they had some question marks about some of the things that he's written in years past about some of his books. However, I've watched enough on him on the things that are most important to me personally, and I think he articulates the Constitution in its original intent better than anybody, even some of the really good conservative as far as articulating the issue.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they don't believe in the issue.
Vivek
but they,
Ramaswamy. Yeah, he's
But he would be my
very smart guy. conservative. He's Hindu,
I think that.
right?
I think that.
Is he a Hindu?
I don't think he talks about it enough to know really, but I mean,
Well, he says I'm a Hindu.
He's from that.
He says I'm a Hindu or I'm a Hindu background, but I'm more of a Christian than most Christians. That's kind of how he says it here. He's but as far as his constitutional conservatism, I think Vivek Ramaswamy would be dynamite.
so realistic, I think he'll pick somebody like Ben Carson. However, I think he would be most effective if he picked somebody
Listen,
like
I don't
Vivek
want. I
Ramaswamy.
sounded like I was disrespecting Dr. Ben
Sure.
Carson. I was having a little fun with
Sure.
his.
He's very low key.
Well, he's not. He's interchangeable with Mike Pence.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Wesley.
He and
That's a good
Mike
point.
Pence, they could sit in a booth and have coffee at Waffle House. Nobody
Yes,
would go there.
that's right. Yeah, fair enough.
Huh?
That's it.
Huh?
Yes.
And if the guy, and
They
if the
know
way-
that too.
if the-
They're adults.
if the
They
cook-
know that.
If the,
That is funny. You got a fist
Yeah.
bump too.
But yes, right. Pass around the fist bump.
That is funny.
We
got
gotta
to
get-
know those two
and
guys.
We need to get Fred's take at some point.
yeah, we are. But if the what's wrong?
That's so funny.
The visual of it is why it's.
Yeah,
like,
you just came up with it. Booth and Waffle House.
I'm
And-
processing it.
Excuse me, ma'am. Could I have some more syrup? I mean, they're not gonna upset any apple
No, I know.
carts. They're gonna pray for the waitress.
And
I mean,
we're
that's,
glad.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah,
they get their order wrong,
Yeah,
no one's gonna know.
No.
They're not gonna say anything.
that's fine. I'm sure she's having a tough day.
right,
That's it. That's it.
ma'am. This would be Dr. Ben Carson.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I ordered these over easy, and they're scrambled. And I'd like to know what the cook's going to do about this. All right. All right. So
that's classic.
listen.
That is.
I don't think it'll be Dr. Carson for
Fair.
I
VP.
haven't. His name hasn't. Other than us talking about it, his name is not in the top 5 that I've seen. And but anyway, who knows about that? Now, Fred, as Wesley rightly said, what is your take?
I would agree with Ed. J.D. Vance and Tim Scott are my 2 top possibilities, but I'll go a little farther down to the cabinet. Ben Carson, Secretary of Health.
There you
Vivek Ramaswamy, Secretary of Commerce,
I would put
or Homeland Security.
yeah.
That's
I would.
Two
I got a
different
department
tracks.
for Vivek Ramaswamy.
Okay.
If I'm Donald Trump
What's
and I
that?
get elected, it's called the Fire 'Em All
go. Yes.
department.
Hey.
I would tell if I'm Donald Trump, I would tell Vivek Ramaswamy,
You.
listen, buddy, you fire everybody you want to.
Yes.
Reorganize
Reorganized DC.
Go into the Justice Department and tell them all to go home. Tell them all to go home. We're hiring all new staff here.
Yeah.
You see,
He'd be the henchman czar. He gets together. You ever see the movie The Untouchables?
Yeah,
They-
a long
they
time
go-
ago, yeah.
Yeah, they go in, to where the speakeasies, and they bust up the, all the beer and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff with axes. They go in, and that's
That's what Vivek Ramaswamy would do.
he would be in charge of that.
Yeah.
He'd be Kevin Costner going in.
I would pay big money, though, having given my priorities for a VP.
Right.
I would like to see Vivek Ramaswamy as a VP if I could see a debate with Kamala Harris.
Hey, J.D. Vance.
Hey.
J.D.
Between-
Vance.
between
I'm with
those-
you, brother.
Between those two, I tell you what, that would be
No, he
absolutely
would.
incredible.
You would be feeling sorry for her.
Yeah.
After about 10 minutes, you would please stand.
But-
Please, Vivek, stop.
But I would
Even-
no, I wouldn't say stop, but I might feel
I know.
bad for her. J.D.
I know.
Vance is supposed to be a very good debater too.
I'm sure he is. He's-
Kamala Harris she's not gonna do well against anybody.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't think she and listen, I don't mean this to sound racial, because she wouldn't do good against Ben Carson or Tim Scott or
Ron
Byron
Swan.
Donalds. That's another
Yeah.
one, the Florida congressman.
Mhm.
I just don't think she's all there. I don't think she's a Swift,
Or ever will be.
or Swifty. She's not a Swifty.
Okay.
Or very
Yeah.
articulate or smart or.
Okay.
Right.
All right,
no.
so
now you dig
is
it
this
the whole
the time in the program where y'all ask me my opinion?
Yeah.
Well,
On-
since
on-
that's the reason why you asked us,
right, because
yes,
I wanted
Tim.
to hear my
Yeah,
own voice.
Go ahead.
So you agree J.D. Vance, the senator from Ohio,
Mhm.
or who'd you say
Tim Scott.
from South Carolina,
And I also added Marco Rubio,
Marco Rubio from Florida, and Wesley, you said what?
I think
Ben Carson.
Ben
You said
Carson
somebody
or-
doesn't-
Ben Carson, I think, is more realistic. I think that Ramaswamy would help him the most.
Okay, well, I don't know a lot about J.D. Vance from Ohio. I know he won, and he was at one time he was a never Trumper,
Mm-hmm.
and then he became good friends with the former president, and so I think he being a senator from the Midwest, that may help. I think Ohio is going to vote red anyway on a statewide level in terms of presidential race, but having a senator from the Midwest may help in other Midwestern states.
Yeah.
I don't know if that matters anymore. Regionalism used to
I'm
matter.
not sure that matters.
Hey, I don't think that matters. You know, regionalism used to. I'll get back to my answer in a minute. But regionalism used to matter,
Right.
Because whoever a party selected, Democrat or Republican, they would often choose a VP candidate from another part of the country,
They would call
Try
it
to-
balancing the ticket.
balancing the ticket. For example, JFK picked LBJ,
Right.
Texas, Massachusetts, New
Yeah.
England, South. Ronald Reagan, governor of California, picked George Bush, who had ties to New England and Texas.
Yeah.
So I mean, that kind of changed when Clinton and Gore teamed up because you had two senators from the South.
Well, Al
You
Gore
know?
was originally from Mars, but he was a
Really?
transplant.
Is that where he
to
invented the
Tennessee.
internet while living on Mars?
Yes, Tennessee. He was one of those alien.
Yes.
I think he's a lizard person, but he
Wow.
did eventually settle.
You're
in
really
Tennessee.
deep into it, man. You've been watching too many Twilight Zone episodes, evidently.
You can't watch too many
the
Twilight Zone episodes.
So, okay, I'm just going with my
So
gut.
what's your answer though? You
Marco Rubio.
Rubio.
That's me. I could go for any of the guys that have been mentioned here. I would have hoped he'd have chosen Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida
Right.
because I think he's the most effective conservative
I forgot
governor.
about considering him. I agree with that.
Well, yeah, but
I don't think he'd take it.
I don't think Trump would offer it because DeSantis challenged him. And I don't think DeSantis would take it because DeSantis is a policy wonk. He's a very DeSantis gets up today with a daily planner, okay, and he strategizes and he's detailed and he's disciplined. All the things Trump isn't.
Right.
You know. Now you might say, well, that works. Whatever works for you. I understand. Trump is fly by the seat of your pants. Let's hit the road. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he likes to
make decisions with your gut. And
Right.
I'm not saying that's always wrong. I'm
Right.
not. He's evidently been a very successful businessman operating in that way. But those two personalities, and both of them being alpha males, that doesn't. You need somebody to be your VP that's going to be a little more subservient to your personality.
So why do you say Marco Rubio? And then I want to throw a name out to see what you guys think. But
Marco Rubio, I just think Marco Rubio, for the most part, in his career, has been a solid conservative. Couple things I would say, that Gang of Eight thing he participated in a few years ago was not good. If you may remember back to that. You remember back to that? They were trying to work out some kind of thing to deal with immigration and pathway to citizenship and all that. And I thought Marco Rubio was on the wrong side of that. But that was like 8-10 years ago or something like that. I just I like.
he's Hispanic, a Cuban background.
Is that
right?
a Hispanic? A Cuban?
I think it's considered in the
Or Latino.
Hispanic Latino, probably maybe more accurate Latino.
Yeah. Yeah. And now the thing about it is, where does Trump list his residency? Is it New York? Because you can't have two people from the same state.
You know, I looked that up, and that appears to be questionable. That the
You mean
Constitution requires to be separate states.
Okay. I've read that.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up, but I think I looked that up one time, and it's and I'm not sure that's true. But let me ask you this: were you finished with Marco? Okay, so here's
Marco.
Here's a real possibility. Okay, I've heard this name floated around. It's intriguing from a political sense. What about Tulsi Gabbard?
Mm-hmm.
What if Donald Trump says, "I want to unite the country"? Tulsi Gabbard was too conservative for the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party's whacked out. And I know she's got terrible social issues. Not social issues. She's terrible on social issues.
Is she terrible?
I think she's pro-life, but I think she's pro-LGBTQ. That's my impression. But anyway, she would be a woman on the ticket. She is
like Trump, a former Democrat.
Yes.
They were both. Tulsi. I met her before, and she's been at a couple of meetings I've been at. I really like her. I mean,
she's pro-military.
I really like her. Now, I don't know. I don't know but she. Trump was a 40-year Democrat.
Yeah.
She was like a 25-year Democrat. But to the positive side of that, they both, Trump and her, have a testimony of coming to their senses on what the Democrat Party was doing to our country. Therefore, they left it.
Yes.
So I think left it.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
I did.
So I think if Tulsi Gabbard was the person, she's very articulate. I think she would. It's somewhat advantageous if you can have somebody that can tell the story of coming out from liberalism and the dangers of it and what's happening to why you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, me personally, what little I've uncovered about her position, and things change. Her position, she's changed from a Democrat to Republican, but the issue of the Second Amendment, she's not strong enough on that.
Oh, is that right?
That's right.
I'm not saying that I would be.
That's just personally.
I'm just saying I've heard her name kicked around.
Yeah.
And I think that would be.
Yeah.
I think that would be problematic for the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Because she would speak to people who are no longer comfortable in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, who may be thinking like she is. Like, I used to be a Democrat, but these people are whacked.
Yeah.
Well, so it's going to be interesting to see.
We got a month. Wesley was right. We're at a month away from the.
We're almost to the longest day of the year.
Well,
it's tomorrow's Friday.
I was talking about the Republican convention, but your statement was also true.
And tomorrow's Friday.
Anybody else feel like going?
I think for America, from here to November will be the longest year in history.
Yes.
Hey, anybody else feel like going to Waffle House? I don't know. For some reason, I just feel like we should go.
Somebody call Ben.
Ben?
Oh, man.
Ben and Mike Pence.
Get ready.
Oh, my goodness.
Get ready, people, for political ads.
Oh,
like
yes.
You've never, ever seen them before. Because they're I know my inbox on my emails, we've all talked about this, literally I'm getting literally 40 appeals a day from various and different people.
Mm-hmm.
One of them has Donald Trump saying, please, please, please. And I thought, they need to change. I know that's not Donald Trump.
No.
Because he doesn't say please, please, please.
I apparently am Carrie Lake's best friend. I get lots of stuff.
I think Laura Trump sent me one the other day. Said this is your last chance.
Yeah.
I was going like, what do you?
I'm betting it's not your last chance.
I
to give.
I know. But let's see who else. J.D. Vance sends me them. Marco Rubio sends me them. I'm on some kind of Republican by his name.
Yeah, list.
You're on the list, Jerry.
And you can't get off.
No, you can't. You're not getting off.
You can't get off. So anyway, but I'm talking about television, the social media, and and social media, you can't skip. You got to watch 10 seconds, right? Am I right?
That's a big time suck. Social media.
Huh?
That's social media.
Everybody looks over and waits on the skip thing to come up.
Yes.
We all wait.
Skip the ad.
3, 2, 1, skip.
Listen, it's like eating Lay's potato chips. Okay, remember the old line, you can't eat just one?
Yes.
Well, you can't just watch one clip on social media. That's the problem. You go from one to the other. Before you know it, you've wasted an hour of your life.
They do know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
With those ones on the anyway. All right, you're listening to the radio program Today's Issues on American Family Radio.
I do. Before Fred gets to his last story,
Tim, Ed, and Wesley.
Yeah,
and Fred, go ahead.
I did want to make mention of the fact that Willie Mays died last night.
Yeah,
yes.
The
what
Say
age
Hey
was he?
Kid, 93 years
93.
old.
Yeah,
one of the best baseball players
This is
ever.
interesting because I grew up a pro baseball, just a baseball fan, but followed pro baseball like many baby boomer males and females.
Yeah.
I mean, it was called America's pastime forever. And Willie, but his playing days, I barely remember because I'm 61. I barely remember. I got in on maybe the tail end of the last year or two of his career. Wesley's heard the name.
That's right. I've seen a few
seen some
videos.
clips. But Willie Mays, you could argue, you could argue this,
right,
is the greatest overall player in Major League history. By that I mean defense.
Make a strong argument.
Defense, hitting, home runs, RBIs, magic moments. He said, I was reading last night, Willie Mays said, and it was called the Say Hey Kid. I'm not sure exactly where that came from.
I think it's from maybe that over-the-shoulder catch, say hey. I don't know.
But Willie Mays said, they said, they hit it, I catch it.
Right.
And he said, they throw it, I hit it. That's how he defined baseball.
Yes. Huh?
He, to your point, he played from 1954 to 72 with the Giants, and then 72, 73 at the New York Mets. But he was a 24-time All-Star.
That must have been every year of his career.
I guess that would kind of head
but
towards
for a
that
long
way.
time, he and Hank Aaron were kind of head-to-head for who was going to win the home run, who was going to beat Babe Ruth's home run mark.
He finished his career with a batting average of .302.
And how many homers?
660 home runs.
Oh, my word.
3,293 hits, over 1,900 runs batted in, 339 stolen bases.
To your point,
he's extraordinary.
And that's
player.
not to mention his defense.
And his defense.
Yeah.
What did you say, Wesley?
Well, I was going to add for the non-baseball followers out there, that's a complete player, because if you can hit that many base hits, also have that many home runs, means that you're able to do it all. Because you do have some people that make the Hall of Fame because of their power hitting.
Yeah.
You have some that make it because of their base hitting, and he had both.
Say hey.
You know, the length of career that he had, can you imagine the salary differences?
Mm.
You know, he lived long enough to see baseball players become multimillionaires.
Yeah.
You know, at 24 years of age. A lot, hockey, the same thing. Early on in pro sports, they were paid nothing.
Right. By the way, he was called the Say Hey Kid. He was immortalized by a newspaper. But he would always say, say hey, or say what, and he was called the Say Hey Kid in a newspaper, and the nickname stuck.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back after this short timeout with Steve Paisley Jordahl. Thank you, Fred.
You are welcome.
We'll be back in, I don't know, say hey, 5 minutes.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
As a federal or state employee, you have the opportunity to support the American Family Association through the combined federal campaign by designating a monthly payroll deduction using 12037. You help AFA continue to fight for your family. So when you complete your CFC form, remember, AFA's number is 12037. And thank you for your help.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
This is American Family News. I'm Steve Jordahl. New polls from CNN have sparked concerns that President Biden's support may be slipping with minority voters. Utah Congressman Burgess Owens weighed in on Fox Business's Mornings with Maria.
They're speechless because they do not believe that we do not think with our skin. They're speechless because they believe all they have to do is give misery, and we become so dependent that we don't think anymore. Now, what's happening right now is American people across the board, we're asking those questions. We want to live the American dream. We want our families to grow. We want our kids to be educated.
The poll found President Biden's support among black voters is down compared to 2020. However, a Fox News poll shows the president still does receive 72% support from black voters. Israeli strikes in southern Lebanon have killed 3 Hezbollah fighters as a U.S. envoy tasked with helping avoid a devastating regional war returned to Israel after meeting officials in Lebanon. Lebanese state media reported multiple Israeli airstrikes along the border and in an area north of the coastal city of Tyre. The Israeli military said 2 Hezbollah launches damaged several vehicles in northern Israel. Amos Hochstein, a senior advisor to U.S. President Joe Biden, was back in Israel after meeting in Lebanon on Tuesday. Ms. Rachel is a YouTube star who makes learning videos for toddlers and babies. She has more than 10 million subscribers on YouTube and has totaled hundreds of millions of views on her YouTube videos. But a parental advocacy group wants parents to be aware of what she supports. AFN's Bronson Woodruff reports.
Your kids may watch Miss Rachel in your home.
Hi, friends! Hop, little bunnies, hop, hop, hop.
She's garnered tons of praise from parents and childhood and education professionals alike that say she's doing all the right things to make engaging and fun educational videos for small kids.
Phonics, phonics, phonics song. A alligator app.
But she's also embracing at least part of today's sexually deviant culture. The team behind Miss Rachel is called Songs for Littles. The website's homepage shows bios of the people involved in the show. Each of the members, including Miss Rachel herself, lists the pronouns they use. One of her co-stars in her musical adventures is Jules Hoffman, a musician who uses they-them pronouns. In addition, Miss Rachel released a video on social media in support of Pride Month.
Happy Pride to all of our wonderful families and friends. This month and every month I celebrate you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're exactly who you are.
Miss Rachel continued in another video by backing up her stance with the Bible.
In Matthew 22, a religious teacher asked Jesus, "What's the most important commandment?" And Jesus says to love God and to love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these 2 commandments.
Monica Cole is director of 1 Million Moms.
She is accepting this sin by promoting gay pride, and when she is accepting it and teaching children to do the same, we know that it's clearly against God's teaching in the Bible.
Cole invites supporters to pray for Miss Rachel that she might hear the truth and receive it. I'm Bronson Woodruff.
And a new company has risen to the top of the list of the world's most valuable. Fox's Lillian Wu tells us which one.
Chipmaker NVIDIA pushes Apple and Microsoft aside to become the world's most valuable public company as its stock, which recently split 10-for-1, continues to surge during the AI boom. The California-based company, which didn't even break the top 20 for market valuation 5 years ago, makes chips and software crucial to training the AI algorithms behind image generators and chatbots like ChatGPT. This is the first time a company other than Microsoft or Apple has held the title since February 2019, when Amazon briefly topped the list. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
A blast of heat and humidity in the Midwest and Northeast days before the official start of summer has put a wet blanket on outdoor activities, from festivals to sports camps, as officials urge people to take precautions. Cities that opened cooling centers this week advised that Wednesday's Juneteenth holiday means some public libraries, senior centers, and pools where residents could beat the heat will be closed. The dangerous temperatures are expected to peak in the eastern Great Lakes and New England on Wednesday and Thursday, and in the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic on Friday and Saturday. For American Family News, I'm Steve Jordan.
Join us for the second annual AFA at the Ark.
Myself and Tony Ventagliano, his family, and my family, and several of the other staff members at AFA.
Tickets include transportation from the hotel to the museums, both tours, and special presentations by Answers in Genesis speakers. AFA has reserved a block of rooms at a discounted price with the Marriott Cincinnati Airport Hotel. To register, go to afa.net/events and join us for AFA at the Ark.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildman, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. American Family Radio, we got 24 and a half more minutes of this program left today. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. I'm Tim Wildman with Ed Battagliano. Good morning again, Ed.
Good morning to you.
And Wesley Wildman.
Have to say good morning again.
Good morning again. Yes.
Good morning again.
Please. And also you can say thank you for giving me life.
Thank you for giving me life.
You're welcome.
All right.
You're welcome, my son.
Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Paisley Jordahl, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
And thank you?
Oh, thank you for giving me.
You showed great gratitude.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for giving me a paycheck.
Yeah.
There we go.
And a nickname.
And a nickname, yeah.
Steve Paisley Jordahl. Abraham Hamilton III is in studio with us. Abe is heard each afternoon, 5 to 6 o'clock Central Time with the Hamilton Corner. Good morning, Brother Abe.
Good morning again.
And good morning again. Oh, yeah, we've said good morning again, haven't we? So your chair, we're in our studio here.
Yeah, I don't have mine as high as you guys.
So you're really humbled. I'm sitting here looking at Abe. He looks like Dorf over there.
Hey, Dorf on golf.
Wasn't that Tim Conway on the Dorf golf?
Yeah, you probably should explain that.
You're like half a person.
Well,
but no, his chair is lower than all of ours. I
can raise it.
Why don't you raise it? Because I'm feeling kind of guilty.
These chairs require a master's degree to operate.
Fortunately, I think everybody around here has one.
There's about 3 or 4 levers that all do something.
For those
different.
watching, you just raise
my chair and I also speak like this.
Yes. Anyway, I can act. If I sit on it, it'll go back down. If I do, let's see. Now it hurts my.
This is good radio.
You just take people out of the vision.
Okay, so before we get into the topics we're going to discuss here on the program, we were talking last half hour how legendary baseball player Willie Mays, everybody's heard that name, who was one of the greatest players of all time, Hall of Famer. Probably started in the 50s, 60s.
54,
50s,
I think.
54.
Okay, and has the iconic catch in center field that we've all seen, even if you're not a baseball fan. Anyway, in the 70s or 80s, maybe it was the 80s, I think, a song came out which paid tribute to Willie Mays and others. Who the names that are going to be mentioned are legendary names in the game of baseball, but they're more identifiable in the time of, I guess, when it was America's pastime. It's such a great song. It's by Terry Cashman, and I just thought we'd play a little bit of it.
It's the Treniers. Is this the one by the Treniers, or you said Terry Cashman?
What is the Treniers?
I don't know. I'm looking it up.
Where did this come from?
There is
the internet.
There is a song, the Treniers, "Say Hey," the Willie Mays song. So I don't know.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I don't know anything about that.
Oh, okay.
Maybe they're doing a cover of this Terry Cashman song.
Okay.
We want to play.
Fair enough.
But as we're hearing that, you know that, Abe. Right? Abe's moving his microphone around. And, okay, you got it?
Great radio, right?
Yeah, it's great. This is great. Y'all hang on.
All right, so this is a feel-good song. Play a little bit of this.
The Whiz Kids had won it, Bobby Thompson had done it, and Yogi read the comics all the while. Rock and roll was being born, marijuana we would scorn. So down on the corner, the national pastime went on trial. We're talking baseball, Klazuski, Campanella, talking baseball. The man and Bobby Fella, the Scooter, the Barber, and the Nuke. They knew them all from Boston to Dubuque, especially Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. Well, Casey was winning, Hank Aaron was beginning, one Robbie going out, one coming in. Kiner and Midget Goodell, the Thumper and Mel Parnell, and Ike was the only one winning down in Washington. I'm talking baseball, Klazuski, Campanella, talking baseball. The man and Bobby Fella, the Scooter, the Barber, and the Duke. They knew them all from Boston to Dubuque, especially Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. Now my old friend, the bachelor, well, he swore he was the Oklahoma kid, and Cookie played hooky to go and see the Duke. And me, I always loved Willie May. Those were the days.
Finish it out.
Well, now it's the 80s, and Brett is the greatest, and Bobby Bonds can play for everyone. Rose is at the vet, Rusty again is a Met, and the great Alexander is pitching again in Washington. I'm talking baseball.
All right.
Like Reggie.
That's a great song. Huh?
That's amazing. That just brings back so many memories of.
Right.
Probably
old
named
players.
90% of those names. I could name you.
Those were 50s, 60s,
and then on
70s.
into the 80s. He was talking about.
He was talking about in the 80s, but especially Willie. I just love that line.
Yeah,
I saw Willie Mays play.
That's right, because you're California.
I'm going to touch you, my friend.
Born and raised in
You
California.
saw baseball royalty play?
I did. I was about 5 years old. I remember this clearly. My dad took me to a Giants game. It was at Candlestick Park. Willie Mays playing center field. Someone hit a foul ball into the stands. It bounced. My dad had stepped away for a second. It bounced, rolled to me. I put my hand on it. And some adult went and grabbed it out from under my hand. Everybody was booing him. My dad got mad because he was away, wasn't able to defend me, and I never got the ball. But I do remember seeing Willie.
Sounds like you were traumatized.
Nah, love baseball. Love baseball.
Willie Mays dies at the age of 93.
93.
93. So, and Hank Aaron passed when, Abe, a couple years ago?
I don't remember the date specifically, but he passed away.
They were contemporaries.
All those old timers. Like
you ever see? I don't want to break down batting positions here, but I've watched videos of Hank Aaron, you know, and he held that bat so low. You just wonder
how did he generate that power?
Yeah, but if you watch him hit, it's just like see-ball, crush ball. Basically, that's Hank Aaron.
Yeah,
see-ball, crush ball. Not a lot of exact technique. Now he comes into form by natural ability, but it's just like wow. But anyway, I will always think that, at least for now, Barry Bonds was a great talent, a generational talent, and probably would have broke the home run record.
Did break the home run record.
Well, I think he's making a point.
He's going to say without certain
asterisks.
But the way he was
enhancements,
the way his neck grew,
his head,
and his head. I don't. This is me talking personally. Again, they don't disrespect him. I don't consider him the legitimate home run king. Henry Aaron, Hank Aaron, who weighed 185 pounds.
Yes.
Huh?
Right.
You notice I haven't jumped in here on the
you jump in,
baseball.
go.
On the baseball,
Because we'll be here for 30 more minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
So use this as I'm the example here.
Okay.
We're
trying. How much can you talk about politics,
Oh, man.
world events? You got to sometime have a release, a break. Go ahead, Steve.
All right, let's go to our president, our
live.
locucious.
Are we going
no,
live?
we're not going live.
Our president.
We are not going live.
You better tell him.
He was yesterday.
Come here, sir.
President Biden was at the White House event, and he was.
No, sorry, Steve. I'm getting the president over here. Over here, sir. Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Steve.
He's on his way. He was at the White House event, and this was an event to announce the amnesty program that he was given. Basically, if you are an illegal married to a citizen, he's giving you a pathway to citizenship. Another election year boon to try to get some votes. Anyway, this was him trying to remember the name of his Homeland Security Secretary.
Oh, I played this.
Cut 11.
Thanks to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure I'm going to introduce you all the way.
Well, no, that's his Homeland Security Director.
Yes, Alejandro
He's not-
Mayorkas,
He's
right?
not sure he's going to introduce him all the way.
But that stumbling sounded familiar to me.
Did it?
Where have I heard that before?
Was it something like this?
Thanks to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary.
That's all, folks.
Why'd
you cut that off, Brent?
He just played it through.
Should we be laughing?
Yes.
We should be crying.
Yeah.
I'm laughing, but I don't feel like I should be.
Well, we cover ourselves, and by explaining, we are not making fun of the condition, but we are making fun of the man who is destroying our country.
Yes.
Well, also, it's one thing to be at Pleasant Hills Resting Home, walking around the yard talking like that, where people
Where's
go,
my pudding?
Where people go, that's really sad.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm sorry to see that happening. Versus somebody who's putting themselves up for president and leader of the free world.
Yes. Well, why don't we get Abe's take
Abe,
on it? You played
you're here
this.
for a reason, Abe.
That's right.
This is your time.
Oh.
So you played it last night.
Yeah, I did. I'd gladly see this time because it.
That really happened like that?
It did.
Not the Porky Pig one.
Not the Porky Pig one, no. No, and here's the thing, and I played it and I addressed it within the context of Caroline Jean-Pierre saying that all the videos that are circulating of Mr. Biden talking to the wall, being moved by the hand, saying they're deep fakes and cheap fakes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what she
Is
said.
that what she said?
That's what she said. And I agree that videos can be taken out of context, but the things that are on video, nobody's making. They're trying to make it seem like people are making this up with AI. That's not what's happening.
Right.
That's not what's happening. Now, I do agree that context is important, but these things are actually happening. In the literally the day after she's saying deep fakes and cheap fakes, he comes out and does that on national TV.
Right.
This is really happening.
Yeah, they got to pull him.
Context only makes it worse.
Listen, they the Democrats. I'm just telling you, you want to lose.
Yes.
Because, well, I'm not saying that that's the only reason, but you get independent voters, and they may not be big Trump fans, but they're going like, we can't have an envelope. You know what I'm saying?
I wish, as long as they wait until after the debate to pull them, I'm fine.
Well,
I want to see the
debate. That debate's going to be something. That's a week from tomorrow night.
Is envelope the right word? I'm looking
Invalid.
for. What is an invalid? It's a person.
Someone who is
Invalid who's
handicapped.
Yeah.
Well,
the physical handicap.
Anyway, I just
They're
think
differently abled, Steve. Stop.
That's true.
That's just wow. And this is getting worse by the week, by the month.
I saw just in my news feed this morning, I saw, for whatever reason, montages, and I did see a clip of him in 2022, and I had forgotten because I'd forgotten that he was not that bad in 2021 or 2022.
No, he wasn't.
He did surprisingly well in the 2020 debates.
Yeah, the point that if you see that or hear that, and then you hear him in 2022, you do see just how if he's gone that quick, if he's declined that bad from a health standpoint in just 18 months, he's still got 5 or 6 months left before the election. I mean,
This tells me that the leadership of the Democrat Party, and by that I would define as former President Obama, former President Clinton, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, all those people are pathetically weak. They have no power over Biden. Biden controls them.
Whoever controls Biden controls them.
Well, Obama doesn't control Biden. Because I say that because, in my opinion, if Obama and the Clintons control Biden, he would be gone. So if they're telling him to leave, it's too late because he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Why do I, Joe Biden, sitting president, have to listen to you?
Right.
Huh?
No, I don't think he wants to go.
So the only person that probably could talk him out of running would be his wife.
But she's not doing that.
And
she
she
is pushing him forward.
Yes, that's what I think too.
She is not going to do that.
But now, as it stands right now, and I'm not talking about the Trump is ahead in, if you believe the Real Clear Politics averages, which I do, Trump is ahead in 5 or 6 of the swing states. Now,
I think it's close in Wisconsin.
A couple of them are like dead even.
Yeah, maybe Pennsylvania.
Do you have that, Steve?
I do. I'm bringing it up right now.
So, I mean, the Democrats are putting a lot at risk if you're them by putting this guy up. But this guy, I mean, Joe Biden to be Joe. Go ahead. The Real Clear Politics, and okay, this is me talking here. Okay, I don't speak for any of you guys here, but I think the Trump being ahead is more attributed to how bad Biden is than how much America's in love with Donald Trump.
I agree with that.
Okay, I think that Trump does have a huge base of support.
Sure.
But I think a lot of the reason Trump's leading is how bad Biden's been. Okay, that's my view. If you don't agree with it,
I think this go around that's true.
We can still be friends, okay? Now, listen to this. This is the Real Clear Politics average. Now, Steve, this is reflective of multiple polls.
Right.
And now they haven't changed. This hasn't changed in the last 6 weeks much. There's not a lot of new polling out. I guess maybe after the conventions and as we get closer to November voting day, we'll have, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So this hasn't changed much. So it may be kind of stale. However, I think it's worthy to bring up. Arizona, Trump is up 4.6 points. Okay. Now, that's a state that Trump would have to win, I think, to win a national election. Nevada, Trump is up 5.3 points. Again, I think that's a state Republicans have to win in a presidential election to have a shot. Now, here's where it gets really, really razor thin. I mean, they're tied. I'm just going to say they're tied in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Trump and Biden tied in Wisconsin. Michigan is the same. They're virtually tied in Michigan. Pennsylvania, this is interesting. If I was a Democrat, I'd be worried about this. Pennsylvania, who rarely goes for the Republican. I think the Pennsylvania is a purple state in the sense if you look at the map of it. Somebody once said there's Philadelphia and there's Pittsburgh and in between it is Alabama.
Right.
Huh?
Yeah, no, I've heard that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I've been up there to meet with our supporters before, and that's very true.
It's very
true.
Between Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, it's very conservative.
It is.
A lot of red. So, but there's a lot of people living in Philadelphia.
Right.
Yeah.
So Pennsylvania is Trump's up 2.3 right now. As I was saying, if I'm a Democrat, I'm worried about that right there because they need Pennsylvania. Both parties. North Carolina, Trump up 5.3. Georgia, Trump up 4.8. So any of those things surprise you that I mentioned right there?
No. Those things don't surprise me. And I was thinking as you were laying out the data, and Nevada's a state that now has automatic comprehensive mail-in balloting, in the state of Nevada. And when you mentioned about,
is that good or bad?
I think it's terrible.
Okay.
I think it's terrible.
Beyond bad.
Yeah, I think it's beyond bad because I mean it's not just I'm not like offering breaking news or anything here. Anybody who's been interested in election integrity at all, automatic mail-in ballots is a formula for disaster.
Right.
It makes it easy to corrupt the process. But that's what's happened. So my question would be: has the Trump campaign and has the GOP in total, what has been done to try to ensure that things are accurate in terms of what's delivered in states like Nevada and
Well,
Michigan.
some of the states did some. I know Georgia and you're talking about. So we don't have what played out where many people are skeptical about the results because the way the votes were counted.
Yeah,
and, things like that.
and I'm
See,
not.
We
and
don't see that. We don't want that to happen again.
Right, and I'm not talking about machines and all that other kind
No,
of stuff.
I
I'm
know.
talking about places like in Michigan where you have somebody who's voted and then they get a ballot at their house.
Right.
I'm talking about having to.
And
things that happen.
another problem there, and I don't know exactly how to answer your question. Another problem is so many times if you have a razor thin election, and you're trying to sort out maybe where voting irregularities took place.
Mm-hmm.
This is the challenge that the Trump legal team faced: is that the clock starts ticking, and so. The clock starts ticking the day after the election, and then you got what 4 to 6 weeks before, maybe 6. Well, no longer than that. 2 months. Anyway, whatever it is
to certify.
It just takes. Anyway, that's a good question. I don't know. Maybe Laura Trump has talked about that some. So.
I got a question for you guys about the polls. The conventional wisdom in 2016 was that Trump underpolled because no one was afraid to tell a pollster that they were supporting Hillary Clinton, and no one would be afraid to tell a pollster that they're supporting Joe Biden this time. But a lot of people don't want to be known, even to a guy on the telephone, as a Trump voter, which is why Trump completely underperformed, at least the conventional wisdom, at the polls. The polls said he was going to lose in 2016, and he won.
That's part of it. The other part of it is that the pollsters didn't do much polling outside of like the East Coast and major metropolitan areas as well. But
would they have learned their lesson, or
well,
the polls?
I'm just wondering if the numbers you quoted from RCP, if they're also a little skewed because Trump underperforms in the polls.
I personally don't think so. I think those polls are pretty. I think the polling industry took a beating in 16.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, and for the reasons you mentioned, Steve, and I think they pretty well got it right in 2020. Listen, we're a 50-50 country and have been since any kind of questions about the election's integrity. You go back to Gore v. Bush.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, America's been 50-50 since that time.
And I think the variable in all of that has been turnout. The question I have, when you see Joe Biden unable to name his own Homeland Security director, you see him, the Easter Bunny moving him, you see all these things happening. Does that depress people who would be more inclined to turn out to vote for him?
That's what I
As
said.
opposed to, because you got the people that are, we hate Donald Trump. They're going to exist no matter what. You got the people, we love Donald Trump. They're going to exist no matter what. I don't really think you have a whole lot of people who's like, yes, Joe Biden is my man.
The enthusiasm is not there.
So you don't have any of those folks, generally speaking. So then you're left with the we hate Donald Trump.
A depressed vote on that day.
That's what I'm saying.
The one thing you might not be taking into consideration is the anger vote. People who see what's happening to Donald Trump, they might not have voted for him, but because he is being politically persecuted and prosecuted, it's okay. I'm voting for him this time. Just stick it to the Democrats.
That's a big part of it. I think Wesley's mentioned this before. Wesley and Bill Maher.
What
they had this in common.
Common ground with the liberals.
The massive amount of illegal immigration into America since Biden, and it continues. He continues to flood our country.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the number one issue.
Absolutely.
Could be wrong. That and the economy and inflation. And both those go against against Biden.
Yes.
And so.
The latest official tally is 9 million people have entered the country during the Biden administration. And that does not include what is, quote unquote, described as gotaways.
Gotaways. That's the official number means those are people they had interactions with.
Yeah. Yes. So the real number is higher than 9 million in 3.5 years.
Probably significantly higher.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so that's going to be a big issue.
Absolutely.
Of why people go to the polls and vote, and that favors Trump. Anyway, those polls I mentioned haven't changed much, but I say there'll be more polling coming up as we move toward the political conventions. Thank you, Abe. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
See you at the Waffle House, everybody.
We live in a day when America's families are under attack like never before.